Yeah. Yeah, so I realized that maybe one more piece is missing in this discussion about monologue, about experience and consciousness, is to show how all the components, or how I can explain all the components of consciousness through the components that I'm offering that are simpler than consciousness, and therefore do what is called a reduction from consciousness to my component. What are my components? Well, I said that the experience is fundamental, and that there are other things that are not experienced that exist also, and everything that I perceive, everything that consciousness is explainable through the I'm arguing is explainable through these using these building blocks. Again, this is not a rigorous explanation. This is just like why I feel comfortable making such an assertion. So, so again, mind you, experience according to my theories is a dimension, a fundamental dimensions. These other things that exist, I call them fundamental dimensions. Why do I call them dimensions? It's because the most significant property of experience is that it exists, and the most significant property of a dimension is that it exists, insofar as it's not a symbolic dimension, insofar as it actually refers to something that is there. Then to be there is to exist, and if you take out all the other properties, then dimension is the best definition that I found for that. Well, but this is actually instrumental. So I'm saying experience is a dimension. I'm saying the other things that exist are also dimensions, and I know from my own existence that experience always changes. So change is a necessary component of experience, and therefore I can use it to explain things. So what do I need to do to explain consciousness? So I need to explain all the things that consciousness is. So that would be awareness, self-awareness, feelings, perception, thought, and mind, which is basically just adds over thought also memory. Okay, so for feelings, I think that's just like a linguistic thing. Feeling and experience are every feeling is an experience. There's no need to explain it. Just another way to refer to experience as feeling. So I'm good there, as far as I'm concerned. Next, I'll do awareness. Now, to understand awareness, it's good to again return to the idea that experience is a dimension. So, and it's always in motion. So when so think about progressing along, progressing forward. You progress forward, and if there's nothing that is in any other dimension, then you will never, as you progress forward, you will never bump into anything. And if you never bump into anything, and if say light would never bump into anything, if you don't perceive, and if there's nothing there, then your movement is meaningless. You will not be able to extract any meaning from it. For you to be able to extract any meaning, and then there has to be, for you to be aware of anything, there has to be elements that are orthogonal to you. Like say you're moving forward, and there's, let's say, a wall, and then you hit that wall. And then because you have to change, because that's what you are, always change, and you have to change direction. You have to refract. And that's awareness, this bumping into something that is not you, and then changing direction. Of course, when I'm saying bump into something, it's much more complex. I'm talking about structures that could be very, very complex, and ideas and things like that. But this bumping into something and then changing direction, that's awareness. And self-awareness, that if you pay attention to the movement itself and then reflect back, and then by giving it a name, that becomes, or that by defining it, that becomes something that is external to you. And then you bump into that you bump into your own, into something that you referred to previously as your own bumping. So that's self-awareness. Now, okay, so you have that. Next, I guess you would need to have thought. So to understand thought, you need to think about those things that you bump into. I said, like, it's a very simplified way of thinking about, like, just one dimension that you bump into. You're bumping into a structure, and a very complex structure. That structure is what I call the body, but you should also think about it as a universe. It's all, everything that you exist with. These are all these other elements that are, well, they are the universe. So they are very, very complex. May contain many, many other dimensions. But so that's the body, and what this complexity gives you is this capacity to segment what kind of refractions would change the shared reality, the physical wakeful world, and which will just stay within the confines of the same body. So movements, refractions that change the world outside, well, that would be action. Well, movement that doesn't, that would be thought. So you get thought through experience refracting on its body, basically, and not changing the avatar that is shared with everyone. And of course, again, this is all hand wavy, but I'm just saying this is explainable like that. And now you need, for thought, there needs to be also, for it to be constructive rather than just a stream of thought, then you have to have memories, and you have to have memories to explain mind. So how do you explain mind? Well, every time you refract, there's a pattern you refract into. Now, insofar as it's possible to take the pattern and encode it into in a way that when you can reflect into it again without causing action, then that would be memory. And so, and the body can, and I argue does, have a capacity to bring back these patterns for experience to refract into and experience again. How, that's going into specifics that, well, some of them are in the book, some of them require further study and further theory, but the idea is it's possible, or at least I believe it's possible. So you get thought and you get memory, so you get mind. Now for perception, well, perception is the experience, is what the specific refractions that you are experiencing at any moment, the specific change of direction, something along that line. I mean, you can, there's already enough here to give you, like, if that doesn't satisfy your definition of perception, then you can say that it's something else in that model. But I think it's explainable too. So I mean, of course, this is there's a lot more to unpack here, and it's all hand wavy. But what I'm arguing is that, and yes, there's a lot of elements there outside the bodies, consisting of a lot of elements. So it's complex in its structure, but the elements themselves are all the same simple element, which is dimensions. So this is a reduction from consciousness to experience and other elements, and therefore I think it's no longer necessary to use the word consciousness. Like, I don't see any need to use that category.